Greetings. This video will discuss how you can open yourself up on LinkedIn in order to maximize the chance that people can find you, whether they be third-party recruiters, internal recruiters, or anybody that wants to search you on LinkedIn, including people at companies and even people who won't necessarily want to search you for jobs. So the caveat becomes, I'm going to show you how to open yourself up as much as possible through different features. If you're not comfortable from a confidentiality point of view on a per feature basis, then you can always turn that off and not follow the exact instructions that I'm providing. So confidentiality is a key issue, and you'll have to get comfortable what your satisfaction level is. And certainly as a client, we can talk about individual features after you go through this video. So please bring up your LinkedIn profile. I'm going to pause here for about 10 seconds so you can find yours, just as I have mine here. Great. If you have your LinkedIn profile, fantastic. If not, just put this video on pause and bring up your profile. Any questions about how to bring up your profile, please give me a call on my regular number, 917-952-3361. Great. So now we have our home page, and if we go to the right-hand side, you'll see the small picture of yourself and the letters me. So if we click on me, what we'll see is usually you go into view profile when you want to make changes to your profile, but that's not where we're going to go. We're going to go where it says settings and privacy. So I'm going to click settings and privacy, and now it opens up a whole new world behind the scenes that you may or may not have seen in order to customize the number of different features. Now you'll see here across the middle, we have four main menu items: account, privacy, ads, and communications. We're only going to focus on privacy and communications, which are really those two responsible for really job search, with the other two menu items responsible for other LinkedIn features. So first we're going to go to privacy. We're going to click on privacy, and we're going to go directly down the list. Some items are going to skip and some items I'm not going to, because even within privacy, there are some items that are not job search related. So number one, please click on Edit Your Public Profile. Now, this is a very, very powerful page, and you can see on the right-hand side, there are a number of different options. So we're going to go down to Edit Visibility. Now, we're going to scroll down a little bit, and under Edit Visibility, we want to make sure that your profile's public visibility is on. If not, people simply aren't going to be able to find you, and arguably that would deter from the job search process. So basic is what automatically is selected. Profile photo. So 70% of all people who read a LinkedIn profile spend time on your profile photo. So the profile photo is incredibly important, so I would argue that your profile photo should be public. In addition, for all the other features here, from your headline to your education, everything else, I believe that everything should be radio button show and nothing should be hidden. Now, again, you may not want to show your education, you may not want to show your certifications. That's fine. You can just click them off when it comes to individual features. But again, being as open as possible is recommended. So I'm going to stay open with everything. Fantastic. So I'm going to scroll back up to the page, and what I'm now going to do is I'm going to hit the left arrow, and I'm going to come back to the privacy menu. So the next item down is who can see your email address. So when I click who can see your email address, there are a variety of different options, and anyone on LinkedIn is recommended. Now, if you are concerned about privacy of your email, I would argue you should have a separate email address just for job search so that it should be visible for anybody on LinkedIn. Okay, so the next item we're going to go to is directly below who can see your connections. Now, the importance of this section is that if somebody wants to endorse you, or now LinkedIn is actually pushing other people to endorse you, you have to be able to click here. You have to be able to have your connections on. If you only have you're the only one that can endorse yourself, which means others can't. So LinkedIn pushes requests to other people. You have no idea about it. And we would argue that an endorsement is very important. It's not a recommendation where somebody's explicit name and how they have a relationship with you. It's simply clicking a skill, and then instead of going from 0 on a skill, you have a 1 or you have a 2 to a 3. So it's very, very straightforward. So I would leave that as your connections. Going down, we're going to skip and we're going to who can see your last name. I'm going to click who can see your last name. And again, we would argue that people should be able to see your full name, as I've indicated here by the top item. Okay, we're going to keep scrolling down and we're going to go to profile viewing options. We're going to click profile viewing options. And again, we would argue that the top item, which is your name and headline, is vastly superior to a private mode. There are a couple different private modes that if you'd like to discuss, we can do that offline. Scrolling down, manage active status. I click on manage active status, and this is a bit of a Facebook feature that says, if you click one of these 2 first items, then people will be able to see you're on LinkedIn. Now, if you're surfing LinkedIn at the office and you don't want your employer to know, maybe the no one is the best button for you. But I would argue that all LinkedIn members should be able to see that you're on LinkedIn, because that means you'll have the greatest chance that a recruiter will be able to contact you. The odds are that they're more likely to contact you if you're quote unquote online LinkedIn, and therefore they will expect a faster response. Next is sharing profile edits. So sharing profile edits is probably the most important section on your on the various buttons that we're going to have here. So LinkedIn used to share any profile changes you've made, but now LinkedIn will share just changes you make to your experience section to your network, meaning your first connections. Clearly, nobody looking for a job will want to send out a message that they just updated their experience section unless they're unemployed. If you are unemployed, let's talk about whether that's even a good idea. But I will make the assumption that we do not want to publicize to the world that you have updated your experience section, because that's code word for looking for a job. So I would have this as no. Very, very important to have this as no. Okay. So we're going to keep scrolling down. And again, there are a lot of features here that really don't have direct job search implications. I'm going to scroll down and job application settings. So if you are applying on LinkedIn for jobs, and again, it's not my recommended approach, but for those of you who do want to do that, if you click job application settings, we'll give LinkedIn a second, and you'll be able to go through a whole menu here on how you can basically attach your resume. You can answer different questions. Frankly, I'm not an expert in this section because most of my clients don't use it. If you want to talk about this section, please call me offline. I'm going to hit the left arrow, and I'm going to come back to where we were. Okay. Now, what is highly important, though, is let recruiters know you're open to opportunities. So when I click let recruiters know you're open to opportunities, then we want to make sure that this is a yes. The only caveat is that if you work for a large company and you think your own human resource department will actually actively search you out to find out whether you are looking for a job and communicating to recruiters, you may want to have this off. But again, that's your own assessment. So I would argue, yes, you want to make sure that you let recruiters know you're open to opportunities. But more importantly, right underneath the yes, we can see update career interests. So if we click on update career interests, you're going to see now a page that LinkedIn revised about 4 months ago, which lets you communicate a huge amount of information to recruiters. You can put a note in of any text that you want. Looking for senior level IT position, and then with additional information. What to put here is something we can talk about offline. But you'll see here, there's telephone numbers you can provide. Where are you in your job search? When would you like a job? What are your ideal titles? So there's just a wealth of information here about how you can communicate with recruiters. And again, this is passive. This is a recruiter has to actually look up your profile, and they have to be designated as a recruiter on LinkedIn, which is an expensive feature. So I would encourage you to take a look at this section, and if you have any questions, please call me offline and we can talk about this. Great. So I'm going to click the left arrow, And we're going to go back and signal to your interest to recruiters at companies you have created job alerts, and share your profile when you click apply. Again, this is for application on LinkedIn, which is generally an approach I don't recommend, so I frankly am not an expert on these areas. If you want to talk about them, call me offline. Okay? So that concludes everything under the privacy menu that we're really interested in. Now let's go over to the communications menu, 2 over, and click communications, and there's a few features here that we do want to make sure that you're aware of to open yourself up. Number 1, under preferences, who can send you invitations? Now, this is an invitation from anyone on LinkedIn. It doesn't have to be from a recruiter. So if we click who can send you invitations, you can see everyone, only, or only. I would argue from a job search point of view, everyone should be able to send you an invitation. It's simply an invitation to LinkedIn. Okay? We are scrolling down, and that really is the only feature here. Let me just double check to see if anything that we haven't talked about here. Messaging reply suggestions. That's the sort of a Facebook. They throw 3 different options at you when you want to reply to somebody like, okay, thank you very much. I actually don't like them because you always have the possibility you click that, and then that's its own message. So you end up clicking some shorthand reply such as great, and then that's kind of meaningless. So then you end up, I would suggest, typing something in anyways if you're replying to a suggestion. But if you want a quick response, you can put this on, and LinkedIn will suggest their own response for you. I just think it's a little dangerous because you could accidentally click that and then realize that you just sent it to the individual and then have to type in a different message. A quick note about groups. I've never found an effective use for groups for job search. If anybody does, please educate me. So that is really it. So at this point, we've concluded. So certainly the content of your LinkedIn profile is something that we focus on heavily, but when it comes to your settings and your privacy that we've just discussed over the last 5 minutes or so, opening yourself up as much as possible will maximize the chance that potential employers or third-party recruiters will be able to find you. And of course, privacy is always paramount, so call me to the extent that you have issues with privacy and you want to discuss. Great. Thank you very much, and I will speak to you soon.